Louisa.
Yeah.
From Deep Throat Choir.
Yep.
And yeah, so how's it going?
Yeah, it's going pretty good. Just sort of landing post Glastonbury. We played on the Park stage on Sunday. It was really, really incredible to go there with like there's 28 of us. And yeah, we just had a really great time, I think, especially after the last few years, to go and have a big, expansive, joyous celebration together was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
28 of you on the Park stage at Glastonbury.
That was it. Yeah, 28.
Have you performed there before at Glastonbury?
I have in other guises, but never. Yeah, I used to sing with a band called Totally Enormous Extinct Dinosaurs. So I've played before, like sung with him, and I've played before with my previous band Landshapes, but we weren't kind of like officially billed. This
Right.
felt like a different thing. Yeah, it was kind of like, we had loads of little shows at like the Greenpeace stage and Crow's Nest and stuff. But this time, you know, just very official, like on the poster, which feels really legit. So
yeah, it's quite a big stage, isn't it? Park stage. I've been there I've been to the Park stage a couple of times over the years, but yeah, it's a good stage, isn't it? So
it's a good stage, and I've been a bunch of times, and it's always the place I end up spending the most of my time anyway, because there's lots of bands there I want to watch.
Yeah,
so
So the 28,
like
28 of you on stage.
Yeah.
It's was that an easy thing to organize? how do you shepherd 28 people at Glastonbury? My God.
Well, you know, everyone's an adult and they can take care of themselves. There's just a few like things that everyone needs to be at and have like a run through, and you know.
Yeah.
But it was fine. I think we've been doing this so long, or like being a group together. There are people who step forward, and I've just had a baby, so it's not my capacity to organize is much reduced. But it was incredible. Everyone just really stepped up and took on different roles and organized car shares and tent shares and all the things that you have to organize with that many people. So it was quite smooth, actually, surprisingly so.
Yeah, amazing. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good work. So just a bit of background about the Deep Throat Choir then. You've released 2 albums and you've just released a 5-track EP, haven't you?
Yeah.
Which is called 3 AM, which has just come out on the Bella Union label based in Brighton. Can you just go through the origins of the group, how it all came together and why?
Sure thing. And why? Yeah. So it started about, I think, 7 or 8 years ago. I had been maybe starting to listen to choirs a little bit more, or vocal centric music, and always had an interest in harmony and kind of like vocal based music. And I think in the other music I was doing, I couldn't take that necessarily as far as I wanted to. So I wanted to set myself the challenge of arranging things just for voices. And I just started reaching out to friends and people that I knew that would make music or singing, and then they would ask their friends, and it was very organic. And I got a real mixed bag of people that are doing music anyway, and people that have never sung in a choir, have never performed. And we just started meeting up on a regular basis, and fairly early on I organized like shows for us, and we started performing in pubs and doing that kind of thing. So that was always kind of part of it. Yeah, I mean, I think that was the origin. I wanted to work with lots of voices. I wanted to feel like I had a bit more of a community around music, and a slightly more kind of like regular thing of getting together every week. And it definitely fulfilled that.
Yeah.
And to begin with, we were just arranging songs that we liked, or that I had kind of picked out that I wanted to have a go at, with something in music that appealed to me. And then by album 2, it's just clear that we had this whole, you know, like a great pool of musicians and writers, and it made total sense for us to then generate our own music and collaborate with each other, which was like a really exciting journey. So yeah, it's had like lots of different evolutions, and we did in the middle of that, we did the collaborative album with Simio Mobile Disco, which was like a very different sonic landscape for us, but really I think like lends itself really well to that kind of electronic bass and lots of vocals. It felt like a really good marriage of sound.
I mean, you're basically the kind of, I don't know, what, MD?
Yeah.
Musical director, and composer.
Yeah, but a lot of this album is written by lots of us. So each track has like a different genesis.
Okay.
Either, I've just like written a song, or somebody else has come with a song that's like fully formed and then we've made it more vocal, added in other instruments, or it's been a writing session between myself and a few other people. So yeah, I suppose I've kind of like steered it, but it's very much collaborative with lots of other composers and writers. So
it's vocals and who else is involved, or what kind of instrumentation?
So from the start, we've always had drums. So Zara's been playing drums from the start, which has been a really amazing journey too, because they didn't play drums before. I think they had just had the idea that they wanted to start playing drums, and I had just had the idea that I wanted to start arranging for vocals. So we both like really learned how to do both those things in the project itself. We also have bass, Eloise, who played in my previous band, Latin Shapes. We were playing in that band together. And Tanya O'Clair does a lot of synth and a lot of writing. Rosa and Katie from Peggy Sue, both like incredible songwriters, both have contributed to this album. A string section and a brass section. We've got a really great sax player called Sarah Parks.
So if you had 28 people on stage at Glastonbury, not all were vocalists?
No, there's a bass, sax, violin, cello, guitar, a bit of percussion, and me on keys.
Yeah.
And drums. So,
okay.
Yeah. So it's quite bandy now.
Yeah. So so Peggy Sue, they've got well, they're from Brighton originally. I don't know if they're based here anymore, but
no, they're based in London, but
Katie and Rosa. So you've been collaborating with them, which is amazing.
Yeah. So the title track of the EP was written by Katie, 3 a.m. So she just like had that song on a guitar, and then we worked on it together to make it make that kind of vocal bass for it, and added in the piano, and then Eloise wrote a bass part. That was quite exemplary of how it can come together. And similarly, Rosa wrote Patience In Order to Know You on the album, and same process. Came with a guitar song, and then we added in all the
other. So the second LP, Order to Know You, who was that released on?
That was also Bella Union.
Okay, Bella Union.
Aside from the Memorations album, it's all been Bella Union.
Okay. And how did you hook up with them?
Well, my other band, Landshapes, is also signed to Bella Union. So
well, I should know that, shouldn't I?
No, you don't need to know that. But so we had that connection already, and have a close relationship with the Annika Mottershaw, who was our A&R there for Landshapes and became our A&R for Deep Throat Choir as well. Simon and Annika and the whole team there were kind of aware of what we were doing with the choir, and so we already had a relationship. Yeah, it's good.
Cool. Oh, that's great, isn't it? And so the new EP is I think it's just digital only, isn't it?
Yeah. Called
3 a.m. Is it just basically a collection of songs, or is there any kind of theme that runs through it, or is there?
Well, it's kind of part of the wider body of work that was the album as well, and I guess with dividing up those two bodies of work, the album, the instrumentation and the feel of that kind of felt like a little bit more sedate maybe, whereas the EP just has like a kind of sunnier, brighter feel. We've got like loads of brass going on. We worked with some of the players from Collectiva, which is like a Latin brass band based in London. I think it's just brighter is my feeling for it. Like it's just a bit more upbeat, and that kind of makes it feel like it works together as a body of work. But it was all kind of recorded and written around the same time as the album. Just had too much music.
No, it's great. I mean, obviously you've got that option these days to release stuff on a more regular basis, I guess, or more, rather than just an album every 2 years or whatever. So
Yeah.
so that's good. Which is
is one of the oldest ones.
yeah, and I'm just reading, written shortly after the women's marches of 2017. That's what it says here.
Yeah, it's kind of a placard that I saw a lot was that line that we've used in the chorus, which is from a science fiction story by Tish Thoyer. Yeah, We Are the Witches. So I kind of took that and then extrapolated from there.
So what are the women's marches that is being referred to?
So that was when Trump was elected, and then there were like marches all over the world.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so.
And the lyrics or some of the words inspired by Angela Davis.
Yeah, I think around that time I went to go see her speak, and she talked about kind of the longevity of movements and I guess kind of forecasting forward beyond your own lifespan. So that idea was taken from listening to her. And
of course, Angela Davis, quite a famous figure from the civil rights movement of the 60s and 70s. If I'm correct on that one.
Yeah, and she does a lot of abolitionist, like anti-incarceration stuff.
So well, even though Trump is no longer there, still quite extraordinary what's happening in America, isn't it?
Yeah, really frightening. Like being launched back into the Stone Ages. Doesn't necessarily feel like things are moving in the right direction.
No. It's a backward step, I would suggest.
Yeah, for sure.
Big bad step.
Yeah.
Cool. Because it's an all-female collective, isn't it?
Well, female and non-binary. They're
non-binary. Okay.
Yeah, they're also members of the choir who don't identify as female.
Men aren't allowed.
Well, yeah, I don't know. There were points where I wanted to have some men sing on some of the tracks that I wanted like a deeper sound. But yeah, I suppose that was part of the motivation as well, as wanting to, having felt like I was in a lot of spaces that there weren't, having been doing music for a while, that there weren't tons of women, and wanting to have a space that was less populated by men.
Sure.
But I don't know.
I'm not. Like I don't mean to be controversial.
No, you're not. No, you're not at all. It's just like 8 years on. Who knows? It's just now. It just is the community it is, and I don't know that I feel so much that it's kind of and out. But we'll see how it evolves.
Yeah, no, I suppose I was, because I went to a festival at the weekend and I saw Sister Sledge. Do you know them?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Bloody hell. I mean, that's just cheese as far as I'm concerned, but actually it was bloody good cheese. They really know.
Yeah, I bet it was fun.
And of course, they're sisters, aren't they? Sister Sledge, but they suddenly brought on their nephews and family members, and it was just amazing. It was like, wow, this is incredible. But I don't know why that popped into because I just saw them at the weekend. So
yeah.
So what is the plan then moving forward? Obviously, you've got some dates, haven't you? You've got a date in London.
I think it's a moment to we've just released this body of work, and hopefully we'll play a few more shows off the back of that.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I kind of want to pause and take stock and figure out what the choir can be. And actually talking about when you're saying like strictly no men or whatever, but I don't know that I like the idea of opening it up a bit more and having a space that lots of people could come and join in and sing. So I'm thinking about how to make it more I suppose more open, or running open singing sessions, say.
Yeah. No, it's not easy to get men to sing sometimes. I mean, I'm actually in a choir in Brighton, which is a mixed choir, but it's predominantly women, because most it's hard to get men involved. But it's an original music kind of choir, so it's all original pieces.
What's it called?
They're called Vocal Explosion.
Okay, I think I've heard of them.
Bit of a terrible name, but it's all based on, it's like a fusion, world fusion, Balkan, Arabic, African,
nice,
European, where but it's all phonetic mainly. A lot of it's word sounds as opposed to proper lyrics, unless it's been adapted from something. But it's interesting. But sometimes I'm the only bass. But there you go. That's the way it is.
Well,
it's
it's
fun,
just
isn't it?
it is fun, and it's a really joyous thing, and
It's liberating and
it's very liberating, and
therapeutic.
it's
Yeah.
exactly, and I would like to sort of facilitate that for larger groups of people, but I'm not really sure how that works. Like maybe
No,
that's a different thing,
yeah.
and maybe this choir stays how it is. I'm not sure, but
Can you
yeah, well,
can you have a smaller version of? I mean, it does it
as a
always?
choir, yeah, no, we do sometimes. Sometimes we'll do shows where there's maybe like, I don't know, I think less than 12, it's kind of a different thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and it depends, you know, if you have instruments, then you kind of need a fair amount of voices to sort of match the volume. But it can sound really nice when there's sort of like 2 per part. That can sound great. And sometimes we've done things where it's been a smaller group of us, and it has a completely different feel. But it's different, but equally as good. We had a show on the Saturday of Glastonbury at the Crow's Nest, just that little tent at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And we had the band were on stage, and we plugged all of that in, but kept the volume really, really low. And then the choir stood in a circle, and we put the audience in the middle sitting down, and that was kind of perfect, like completely unmiked, and you get the kind of organic sound of how it feels when we just sing in a room together anyway. You know, that's how we rehearse, in a circle, and the instruments turned low. I think that's maybe how it sounds best.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. And
pleasure.